Hi, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. Happy No Buy January, or maybe you're doing a no buy quarter, or maybe like me, an entire no buy year challenge where I won't be buying any items to bring into my home. That's part of trying to save money for retirement, but also just having an uncluttered house and cutting down on my consumerism for the year. So I front loaded beginning this with an inventory audit. So I'll show my footage here. I went through, washed all my laundry, had it clean and hanging up at once so I could remind myself of exactly how much clothing I have. You only have one body to wear clothes. So it's a reminder that I really have enough. I don't need to buy more. Also, I did this with my hobby supplies for herbalism, reminding myself how much I already harvested. I can still go harvest free items. No buying any more herbs or materials and just using what I have and focusing on using those items this year. Those were helpful reminders. Another helpful practice was writing down every time I had an urge to buy anything. And mainly I was having urges to buy all those things that are on sale after the holidays. New, holiday cloth napkins, new holiday art. I was kind of getting bored with my wreath above my fireplace. I thought maybe I just like a nice piece of festive art. So I had an urge for that. And I technically could have bought these things because it was before January 1st, but I just wrote them down instead to get in the habit. And then what's interesting is I did have a real urge on January 1st to buy something because my son was gifted a 1,000-piece puzzle. We don't have room for permanent setup for a puzzle table. And so my friend had told me about hard case puzzle boards that you can slide under your bed. I even went online and looked at how much they cost. I kind of negotiated with myself, well, really, that's a gift for your son, not buying something for yourself to bring into the house, but it would be in my house. And so anyway, I wrote it down instead of buying it, and it made me think more creatively. I decided we could just take one of our folding tables, the legs folded, and build the puzzle on that and then slide that under our bed. So yeah, 2 lessons right there is one, when you get something, sometimes it makes you think you need even something more to go with that thing you got. And then another is that you can get creative, even mildly creative like that, instead of buying something just to save money and do your no buy years. That was the biggest urge I had, and I just wrote it in my journal. I'll show you here what I wrote. Just plan on writing things down instead of buying them. And then if I still want them in 2027, I can buy them there. But in 2026, I plan on doing these updates weekly. My hope is we can share and encourage each other if you're doing any sort of no buy period, and share your wins and your struggles. And then in February, I'll probably move to a monthly update. So if you want to see those updates, please do go ahead and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow with an update. All right, day 2 of my no buy January went pretty well. I didn't write anything in my wish list in my journal that I thought about buying. I did think about some things briefly, like, maybe I should have stocked up on some more socks, but it wasn't even really worth writing down because I think I'll get by just fine. And one thing I did find helpful was just to plan, some more enjoyable activities, free activities, especially if you're doing a no spend versus no buy. One of those was getting my monthly massage, and then another was going out into the woods on a hike with my daughter and my little granddaughter. That was lots of fun watching her slosh through the puddles. So didn't buy anything or write anything on my wish list of day 2 of my no buy year. I'm on day 4, reporting on day 3 of my no buy year. I didn't have a lot of urges to buy things yesterday. It was just some fleeting thoughts, like I probably wouldn't have even remembered by the time I got to my wish list what those thoughts were to write down. But I did notice I was just having more of those thoughts, like when I'm not on a no spend, no buy period. I don't think of things to buy as often. It's kind of like I made this rule, and
now I want to rebel against the rule instantly, so I'm just thinking of all the things I could be buying that I'm not. But none of them obviously important enough, if they're not important enough to write on my wish list to actually go and buy. So that's just something interesting that's happening. And then also what's helpful in motivating me is, reporting to you. But if you don't have a YouTube channel, if you do, say hi in the comments. But if you don't, then find another way to record your progress. In addition to the videos, I also just have a simple calendar where I am marking off the days as I complete them. I know some people really like a checklist like that. Other people like to add items, whether it's adding a sticker or, making a little chain. I don't know. You people who like to add things rather than check things off, let me know what you use. Just find some way of tracking your progress. Then I haven't seen any of the friends that I told about this besides my YouTube friends, but I am just reporting to my daughter and my son, hey, I made it through another day of not buying anything. And then what was also helpful, especially since I'm a teacher and I'm not working and I have all this time, is to make sure I'm filling the time with, useful and pleasant activities. So I did one of my hobbies yesterday, which is bullet journaling. And then today I'm going to make some herbal concoctions. So that'll keep me busy. And also I think creating items is a good substitute for the little dopamine hit you get when you buy something. Being creative in any way, and that doesn't mean being artistic necessarily. I am definitely not, or even really crafty, but just create, it could just be like baking something. That's what I found helpful and what I did to get through my third day. All right, day number 4 report. It went really well. It was the day before I go back to school after winter break. I was preparing my classroom for that and getting all those last minute tasks done. So keeping busy is a real helpful way to not think about buying or not go shopping, especially, again, this first week of a no-buy period can be the most challenging because you suddenly think of all the things that you think you need because you've told yourself not to buy them. So keeping busy and focusing on other activities can really help you not think about this stuff. Also, I took some time for my hobby, which is herbalism, made myself some facial cleanser and some body cleanser. And this solved the problem I had that I had forgot to buy new cleansers before my no-buy started, and I do, need to engage in hygiene this coming year. But instead of, going out and buying some, I had materials at home that I could use to make myself some cleansers, and also in a cheaper fashion than would have been to go buy them. So day 4 of success, didn't buy anything. All right, day number 5 went well, didn't buy anything, and didn't really have any strong urges. And I think a lot of that is just I was back at work after being off from my teaching job for 2 weeks. And so that just kept me busy and my thoughts focused on other things. And I didn't even add anything to my wish list. Just I didn't think of anything to buy. So easy breezy, day 5. Okay, day 6 was an easy day back at work. That makes it easier, 10 hours a day. I'm not interacting with the world. That makes me want to buy anything. Staying out of stores. And day 6, another successful no buy day, not writing anything on my wish list. And I did have a brief urge to buy an omelet pan because I don't have one. I've never had one. So maybe if I'm 54 and I've never had one, I don't really need one more day, and I'll have made it a week without buying anything.
All right, I did it. I went the whole week without buying any stuff and bringing it into my house. And I really think the biggest inspiration was knowing that I'd be turning on this camera and sharing how my no buy year has gone so far. So thanks for letting me check in with you every day. And I hope some of the tips I've shared in this video will be helpful to you. And I'll make a video that has even more tips on how to do a no buy. And if you're doing a no buy January or no buy year, please do share your tips and wins and challenges with us in the comments